Hi everyone, I'm Ashley Holden. I am a reporter with ABC15 in Phoenix. I have covered this case. I've covered executions in 2 different states, including Oklahoma and here, but I have not witnessed an execution until today. I want to take you through just kind of, we have people here that have seen executions before, but like I said, my first time. So we got into the room and it was kind of bleacher style seating with cushioned benches that we sit on, and there are 3 different sections. We saw the Attorney General, we saw the Maricopa County Attorney, and they were sitting kind of in one section away from us. When you walk in, we were led to the 3rd most section, which is the most inward section, and you could see the 3 monitors like described, and you saw a gray gurney with burgundy straps, restraints that were there, burgundy and cream, I should say. And it was almost as if the area around it was redacted or blacked out. That was what it looked like. So you could see the bed, some floor around it, but that was all you could see. So around 10:02, let me back up. We did hear the microphones come on before Gunches was led into the room. So you could audibly hear that. You knew it was going to start. Gunches was led into the room along with 5 what appeared to be DOC staff members and started being placed on the bed at 10:02. They put restraints on his hands, his ankles, and one that wrapped on his waist. They then put a blanket over him that folded at his chest area. There was that experience that we talked about with the curtains, so you could see the monitors first, and then the mic, and then the curtains drew, and that's when we saw Gunches let in at 10:02. From there, you saw 4 IV team members who came in, and they were all in white. So they had a white hood on, something white that covered most of their face so you couldn't see them. One was holding a clipboard, the other 3 were helping place the IVs. And the IVs were being placed in both arms, typically what you would see, just how people imagine it, tying off their arm and putting those IVs, taping them on. It didn't seem like there was any kind of conversation with Gunches at any point other than the DOC team checking his restraints. He looked straight ahead, and that was what we observed for, I would say, all of the time we saw him. As the IVs were placed, we heard everyone exited the room. We heard that from what I could see. I think there were people that came in that were in the corner that I could not see from my vantage point or on the screens. The execution warrant was read at 10:13, and they started pushing. You can see them working on that screen with the different syringes, 2 black, 1 at each ends, and 2 green in the middle. So you can see them start pushing at around 10:14. Shortly after that, we saw I'm going out of order. The execution warrant was read, and they asked him, as you've heard, if he had any last words, and he shook his head. From there, we saw the drugs start to be pushed, and we saw those hard breaths. How Troy described kind of blowing almost is what I equated it to. We also then did hear a snore, a yawn, and he appeared to start losing consciousness. I did see a flinch, a couple small tremors in his arms as well. All of this happening in a matter of minutes, and it appeared that he quickly lost consciousness. I will say, as someone who has not witnessed an execution before, we were left waiting there for a little bit of time. I wouldn't call it abnormal, but all of this happening in a matter of minutes. At some point, someone came in, checked his pulse. We could hear the beeping that Jimmy described, and then that team member walked back out. At 10:33, they read the time of death. Any questions? Right in this elbow crease area where typically you would see the IV. I did see staff members on his left side coming and going, kind of like what Jimmy described. The right one seemed seamless. But like I said, there was no communication, it seemed, between the IV team and Gunches.
And can I address that quickly? I feel like, and I don't want to contradict what you said, but I didn't think that they were making attempts on that left arm. It seemed like the other one, the guy that was there, was kind of setting it up, and the other guy came in and put it right in. It was, so I don't think we saw something.
And I'll clarify what I saw. Someone walked up, started placing the IV. Again, there were three people working on the IV, and it's not just an insertion. They insert, they have a cover they tape down, and then they have lines that they tape down as well. So they did that on both arms. There appeared to be two people that worked on what would be his left arm. Like I said, I couldn't see who walked in the room from my vantage point, but I did not see Director Thornell there during my time.
From start to finish, how long did it actually take to follow up on his reaction and answering questions?
So putting him on the bed, 10:02, time of death, 10:33. But then again, the drugs were starting to be pushed around 10:12 to 10:14. So if you do that math, about 18, 17 minutes right there. His eyes closed. Like I said, he had the hard breaths. So I think we were all watching to see what would happen after that. Like I said, I saw some small tremors in his arms. And then it was a pretty quickly loss of conscious. So then we were watching to see, the time of death and that process. And during that time, you could hear a beeping, like I said, and then a team member come in, check his pulse at one point, walk back out, and then 10:33, the time of death was read. I will say then we were all kind of taken out in groups. So we were with a media group. There were representatives for Gunches that were there as well. Then we had a middle group, who I'm not aware who those people were, and then we had the farmers group, which was representatives from the Price family, the Maricopa County Attorney, and also the State Attorney General.